All right, 5 o'clock. Time to adjourn, no, to begin our meeting. Some discussion items here at this work session. The first one up is charter amendments. And Scott, you seem to be the one that was most interested in that. Do you have anything?
Yeah, I can get my piece of paper. I think the way we left it, if anybody was interested, they were supposed to come up with 2 different things that they thought might be amended. My things are page 1 of the charter. Section 3.7, elective officers and terms of office. The last paragraph in that section, no person shall be eligible to be elected to the office of mayor or council member who has held the office for 12 years or more successive years, 12 years or more successive years, unless the person has been mayor or council member for 2 successive years immediately preceding the election of an additional term. As far as I'm concerned, term limits are for a reason, and I know there's a couple people for sure on council that won't agree with me, but I think the last part of it should just be eliminated, and it should be 12 years and a period on the charter.
Scott, do you mean total, or do you mean there can be a 2-year break?
No,
and then you can...
12 years total.
Oh.
You do 12 years and you're done. That's what term limits are for. So
Okay.
term limits aren't supposed to start over again because you take a couple of years off.
Oh, okay. I thought that's what voting did.
Pardon me?
I thought term limits is when you vote. That's what term limits people is voting.
I don't understand.
People are voted out.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no need for term limits. If people want them, they vote them. If they want a term limit them, they don't vote them down.
So I was one of the ones, I turned out, took 2 years off and was asked to rerun again, and I reran and won.
Same for me.
Yeah, so, I mean, a 2-year hiatus, I ran and was reelected to the position. I mean, if they didn't want me in everyone, they wouldn't have reelected me, so. You know, I understand, you know, term limits as far as lifetime, 20, you know, you keep getting elected for 40, 50 years, yeah, I can understand that, but when you take a break and are asked to rerun and get reelected in, I don't see where that's a huge issue. Again, my opinion.
Like I said, my opinion is it should be 12 years and that's it. Once you fulfill your term that you're in, once you get to 12 years, I think that should be the end of your service to the city.
How did we do that for the boards and commissions? Because didn't we implement a term limit for those? What was our, do you recall, Will?
No,
What
we
was
have,
our?
but I don't understand how it seems to be enforced for certain people, but it doesn't seem to be enforced for other people.
Well, I don't know, but I was wondering about how did we establish it for those? Did we say 12 years total and then you're finished, or you could go do something else, maybe a different board
Yeah, that's what I recall.
I think it's a different board, you just can't be on the same one, I'm pretty sure that's the way it
after
is.
12, then you can't, so.
But you could go to another one and then come back, I think that's the way that's set up.
Yeah, and if you're on council, you could be on another board.
Mhm.
If you're,
Sometimes it's good to have a mix of folks with long-term institutional memory and then new folks. And to me, I think term limits makes the most sense when you're talking about members of Congress and they get in and then they get a lot of money donated, and so it's hard to break into an incumbent. So that to me makes a little more sense rather than just a little local elected council.
the institutional knowledge is a huge thing, because a lot of stuff that Jeff's brought up, that you've brought up, for people that have been here for a while, for someone like me, is valuable, incredibly valuable. And the 12 years, take a couple, I mean, it was fantastic that you came back around, you have a wealth of knowledge, so, and you were voted back in, which also goes on Tammy's first comment. Well, the voters will decide whether you have limits or not after that 12. If you want to come back and take some time off and they found your job valuable, then they make that choice. So I kind of like the way that is currently, you know, going off of both of your ideas with that.
I could go either way on it.
I guess I could too, but I would like to see it consistent. If it's this way for council, then maybe it should be the same for the boards. If we are allowing people, you know, the same argument there with the institutional knowledge. I mean, there are some people who've been on the boards for a while, and, you know, losing that information could be detrimental. But a couple of years off, I don't know, I just feel like it should be consistent whichever way we go with it.
Anyone else? Move on to the next one and come back to us if we want.
Yeah. My other one is on page 4 of the charter, section 4.35. I think also answers the third thing in our discussion item in our agenda. Such committees or boards shall serve at the will of the mayor, acting on the advice and consent of the council, and without compensation unless otherwise provided by council. I don't have any problem with that, other than we're providing lunch for the BLT meeting, and I think that is a violation by the way this is written.
I wouldn't take it that way, but I think we should deal with that lunch thing. I would like to see that stopped, but not necessarily here. I guess that kind of a thing I don't see as a violation
So
itself.
providing somebody lunch is not a compensation?
Maybe a courtesy, but you could say I think we should do away with it, but I don't consider it to be a payment.
And you're not suggesting the change of the charter?
No,
Okay.
no, I just think that it's clear in the charter, to me, that providing lunch for one committee and not providing lunch for any of the other committees, or dinner, or a snack, or whatever, isn't fair.
This council has been, in my years, has been given meals during budget work sessions and items like that. Those have been provided in the past, I believe. Provided their mayor exchange day, the council is on at that.
If we discuss it later, I actually like your latter idea, which is for all of the people that volunteer on all those committees. I think as a courtesy, going on with what you say, it would be nice to have snacks and things like those. Flipping it, again, not compensation, but courtesy, thank you for volunteering and being here. Here's some, PPOs, here's some donuts, here's some whatever. You always, as simple as it is, you always feel incredibly appreciated when there's food when you walk into a meeting. And I go along with the courtesy idea for all of the committees.
I agree. I think we're a small community, and there are people who step up and they show up.
Subjects.
Are we?
Okay.
We probably
Yeah, we're
should.
talking about something completely different than charter changes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I
let's-
just make sure we're clear.
Let's point
That's
to order
okay.
then. Let's get back to that.
Okay,
I
yeah.
thought it was part of it, but that works.
That's all I had, that's my 2 things.
I guess we, kind of what I feel is we should reclassify that. It's not payment.
Doesn't
Which
say
is the
payment,
issue.
it says compensation.
Point of order,
Well,
that's a
yeah.
discussion for
Yeah.
when we talk about the, what is the
And we'll
subject?
talk about it when we get
Yeah,
to consideration of policy guidance.
Did you have any other, Scott?
Nope, that's it.
Go ahead, Roger.
Well, I guess maybe I might be speaking too soon, but if that is the only issues about amending the charter, then we should not even look at this. We got policy issues to deal with, but not a charter amendment. We just end it right here.
I think there's a couple things that we could bring up.
Do you have some?
I have a couple, and this one, some of these, anyway, on section 3.8, I think that's the first page, that talks about the odd numbered years election. Is that worth changing since we've changed to even number year, or is that something we just let go?
I think since it could be done by resolution, I don't see, it's more of something I can just type in and update on the
Okay.
charter and just say
Right.
amended by resolution, blah, blah, blah.
I know legally we could do that.
Right.
in
Yeah,
everything
you wouldn't
else,
need to amend, you wouldn't
The
need to
whole
go through
thing.
the process of
Right.
amending it to,
Right.
because that's permitted ultimately.
Okay.
And wasn't there something else that came up a while ago that, even though it was in the charter, the law overrode
The
that?
$5,000 spending.
Okay, so maybe, is that, I don't remember if that was the one, but,
Yeah, there was that one, and I think that was by ordinance that we changed that. And that was something that is in the charter that shouldn't be, honestly, a dollar amount shouldn't be
Yeah.
because,
okay.
yeah, right. I mean, that would be, I would say if you're going to go through a charter amendment, even if there's small revisions, that would be just like, oh, by the way, let's change that because we did.
Right,
Right.
Same thing with like the gender neutral
Yeah,
language, we're gonna make it just administrative changes.
but those things could be changed without an amendment or just an update to the, or no?
No, those
the
have,
amount
That
would-
would have to be, okay,
Yes.
everything we do, okay.
that's, unless it's
Has to be-
specifically allowed in the ordinance.
Ah, okay,
This one that I would bring up too probably falls under that same thing, but I think it's at least worth bringing up. Number 14.3 F, G, and H, it talks about communications and stuff. Do we need to even reference electronic media communication or something like that? Are we covered? We probably are covered this way, but am I in the right place here?
14s
Or wait a minute, I'm in the wrong place here.
They're miscellaneous items.
14.3, is that what you're talking about?
Right, 14.3. Oh, maybe I got the wrong number here. Oh, shoot.
14.3 talks about publishing things.
Yeah, publishing, right, that's the right one. In publishing, when we make referrals to that, should we expand that to include?
And this is the
Electronic
minimum that
media.
you would have to do. So to do, when you publish something, this is the minimum you have to do. You can add things to that, and it doesn't
Oh.
violate this. So like,
Okay,
the things that get published electronically, you
okay,
can't do it just that way, but as long as you do this, you can do it, you can publish in other ways, and that's not a problem.
okay. Anybody else have something?
I think the only thing that I would have suggested, which I kind of agree if there's not much, then I'm going to open it up, is just a mechanism for a periodic review and maybe a charter review committee, if it were to be opened up.
could you say more? What, review the charter regularly?
Yeah, just a mechanism for a periodic review with a charter review committee. I'd also like to involve citizens, local citizens. But if it's not gonna be opened up, then.
But could we do that without amending the charter? I mean, you could just set a policy for, city policy that will review it.
That's
I mean,
the only
that's
thing, sure, but that's the only thing I noticed in there, that it had an option for a review, but it wasn't a periodic review, so I
Well,
Roger?
really what Debbie said is that we don't need a charter amendment to review it, and any organization should be reviewing their bylaws, constitution, charter, on a regular basis anyway. I'm in the process with another group right now, because it needs to be done.
Right.
Well, and I think the only reason you would want it in there is just because it would be there, and with turnover of different councils, it would be a mechanism to prompt council to do that, whereas it might not happen otherwise. It's just an idea.
Okay.
Not a bad one.
We kind of done with that item? Charter amendment stuff? We can move on to strategic planning.
I guess we're all, while we're talking about this one thing, we're going to read and change the order.
Sorry, say that again, I didn't hear
Do you want to roll into the third bullet rather than the second, because we're kind of already on that topic, just talk about it and get it over with? It doesn't.
That's fine with me. Why don't we then go to the third item, consideration of policy guidance. I don't know who is interested in that.
Got it.
No, that was my opinion. I don't think it's right that the taxpayer should be, spending money to give a committee lunch. Just plain and simple for me. It isn't that I don't appreciate the people volunteering, I just don't think that we should be providing lunch. I don't think that that committee should be meeting at noon anyhow. But can't get them to change it, so, because they're all old and stubborn, older than me.
I'm on that committee.
Yeah, so is he.
For my own point, I just, the food is good. Like the last time, at the last meeting, the food was good and all that, but it's $266
For how many people?
Well, there were, I don't know how many people there were, but
Or at least 9 up here.
Less than $10 a plate?
So,
Did we include
The-
the public too, just in case?
Yeah, the
We
public
put a
does.
buffer, so that public can help themselves to it as well.
Yes, they can.
Mhm.
yeah. And it could be a distraction even too when you're trying to get the meeting started, I guess.
the anomaly with those three committees, they're their own taxing jurisdictions. That's the difference between TIF, fraud, and LDFA. That they have their own budgets,
Is that where it's coming from then?
always.
Always?
I rotate who pays for it. So it's like $1,000 a year between the three committees. So that's kind of a dilemma with certain policy around most of the case law that I read is from DDAs suing the city council because they're trying to steer the budget too much. So the DDA can sue the city council, and I didn't see the city council winning. Okay, the ones that I read. Throw that out there. They're not like committees like the Marina Committee. The Marina Committee isn't tax jurisdiction.
Go ahead, Patrick.
Dan, would it be safe to say that we don't have the authority to tell them how to spend their money?
It's this weird anomaly where we approve the budget, but they control how it's actually spent. I have to submit a budget to the state every year, and it just lumped in with our city budget, but realistically, it could be their own budget. It would be complicated, but yeah, it has been in the past considered overreach for city council to dictate. Like even with Jeff wanting chairs, I had to go to TIFA and ask to spend money. It's not like I can just do it. So.
Because they are an authority by statute, just like the fire authority and the ambulance authority and
By Michigan law.
same thing, Mountain View Fire District is actually an authority.
Right, same reason we don't have real jurisdiction over like fire authorities, but they're their own thing.
And there really is no policy for us to make.
it can come internally, and there are members of council on the board now, so it can come within and go about it that way. But it's very difficult. If any one of those taxing jurisdictions wanted to push back, they could. They'd have pretty good footing.
So this would be a discussion for them amongst themselves.
Correct.
It was already discussed. Well, I don't know if you wanna call it a discussion or not. I brought it up and everybody else said no. So if you wanna call that a discussion, then it was already discussed.
It was heard.
They said they tried it before and it didn't make any difference in attendance from the public. But that was then and this is now, and people in the public complain all the time that those three boards meet at noon and they can't make it at noon because they're at work. They wish they would meet like the council meets.
Unless they're old.
Well, but also
Retired.
a point was brought up that a number of people on that committee also don't live in Whitehall. They work here, they take time out of their workday to come, and then they leave. And so that having it during the day, and actually Mike Guinan was the one who brought this up at the meeting 2 meetings ago, said that because so many of them take time out of their workday to come here, that having them go home and then come back, they had a lower amount of attendance of the actual people on the boards at the 6 o'clock than they did at the noon. Isn't that, Roger, what he said when he explained it at 2 meetings ago? So having it at noon allowed more of the people on the committees to make it.
Did they take their lunch hour and show up?
They took their lunch hour and showed up.
Yep.
So it wasn't that it wasn't heard, it was explained to you why it was done and then why it was just back to this.
I guess my feeling is if you can't make a 6 o'clock meeting 4 times a year, and it's that inconvenient for you, then you should volunteer to be on the committee. There's a bunch of people that want to be on committees all the time in the last few years, and, you know,
But don't they have to be from specific sectors, like the schools and different?
some of them do.
Some,
Yeah.
Some of them
So
are,
it's
I
not-
think one of them requires somebody from the community college.
Mhm.
Like
One of them requires somebody
the county,
from the school district.
I'm surprised there isn't somebody from the museum and veterans on there too. They're the other taxing jurisdictions that are affected.
Is Sears on one of them,
Yeah, he's on, yeah.
and it's because he's for the county, because that one requires somebody from the county. And I know at least one of them requires somebody from the school district.
Yeah.
And one of them requires somebody from the community college, which I don't understand, but I didn't set the rules up, so.
And, yeah, you're right.
Are there any other things under the policy and guidance for expenditures that we should be talking about in that category or haven't hit? If not, we'll go back into the strategic planning.
Okay, I'll just go ahead and start if that's okay, Mayor.
Is it okay if he starts?
Oh, sure.
I'll just read my brief.
Yeah.
Back in March, the city council and staff participated in a strategic planning workshop to identify priorities for the next 2 years. Double Hall Solutions facilitated the session as part of the city manager recruitment process and prepared a draft strategic plan based on those discussions. Council will review the draft, discuss the merits, and provide direction on any revisions. It looked like a lot of corporate speak to me, but I think they got the gist of it.
I was a little disappointed. I really liked the discussion we had, and I'm not sure this reflects it. I mean, the description of Whitehall is like, how is that different than any other city along the waterfront, you know? And so I just thought it missed a lot, and I wondered if they have the worksheets and notes that would help flesh that out, because it was quite a while ago. But I remember talking about how we wanted Whitehall to be the best that it could be for the people who live here. Not that we didn't like tourism, but tourism would help our community, our economic vibrancy, But I feel like I missed that point, that we wanted to make this the best it could be. I thought we talked about housing, and other issues, and emergency preparedness, especially with, more frequent storms, and making sure that, we're addressing that. It just, then it does kind of look like ongoing programs, fiscal responsibility, well, of course. Roads, of course, and a whole bunch would fit under infrastructure. And so I was disappointed, and I'd like to revisit their notes and flush it out a little bit more. And then, of course, we had decided that we would look at it, discuss it, and then go out to the public, which we still need to do, to get their input.
What I remember from that discussion was that we kind of decided on two main groups. One of those was roads and infrastructure along with that. And the other one was appearances of the city, and eliminating blight and making the city more attractive for everybody. And I thought that was the focus, is to those two areas. And I guess I don't know exactly if that relates real closely to what they've done here, but the other things that you had mentioned, Tanya, I don't remember them being too big a factor, so.
I do. That's why I think it'd be good to look at the notes. It looks like a kind of a bare framework, and it
Yeah, I
just,
thought it was a good skeleton, but
yeah.
it's a lot of course, but not how, and what exactly are we gonna do to get there, and how do we measure that we did it? At the very end, it talks about tracking key performance indicators for each goal, and I went back to say, okay, what's the goal, and what are those measures? And it's a good skeleton, but I don't see the meat that's
As I said, there's no meat on the bone.
Yeah, that's not.
It's all general.
It's very
Yeah.
general,
Very
and there's
general.
no, you could argue, you say, okay, I wanna build X, Y, Z, and you could make an argument that it could justify that you're following the strategic plan.
And there's no
But
why. Why are these priorities? Why are these priorities?
We spent some time going right along with your opinion, coming up with goals to try to hit. Like one of our discussions was, we're gonna start like one park at a time, and then when that park was done, go to the next one. But I didn't see any of that, like, okay, we were gonna pick these.
There's really no goals.
There's no goals.
Concrete goals. And there
Right.
was
Am I mistaken? I remember us having to come up with goals.
Yeah, we did.
And I didn't see
They're on the
those.
pieces.
They were on
They were all on the board, and I didn't see them in here.
If you go to each page, there's an outcome section. I think that's probably the best line from each page. I'm not disagreeing with any comments, I'm just saying, let's look here.
Kind of would suggest they go back to the drawing board, but we probably should have asked them earlier.
Where do you find the
What is the
outcomes?
It's on the bottom.
It's on the bottom of each little bullet.
Right,
Let's
right,
say
Right here.
outcome,
Outcome.
okay, good.
It's on each.
So,
but again, it's not very specific.
It's
It's still just
general.
a general, like,
Yeah.
hey, let's make
Yeah.
stuff nicer, or,
Stronger local economy.
yeah.
Stronger local, what does that mean?
Yeah,
Well, of course we want.
you should
stronger
spend more money.
Right.
So what I think Ike was a great president, and he said, plans are worthless, planning is essential. Like, I got a lot out of the workshop where I had some direction on what to do, where this, it's almost useless.
Mhm.
I
Well,
got all of your
that's
opinions.
that's key input, because we need to do some more work.
Well, he knows, so long as he knows, he'll relay that to us.
Yeah.
He remembers
Is-
the notes.
Did we ever get a write-up of the notes and what was on the board?
This is the only product I got. I can go back to it, I really don't know.
I think that'd be a good idea.
It's like, this could be for most cities.
Yeah, I mean, it's not specific to us. And it's also just, it goes without saying, fiscal responsibility, well, yeah. We should be fiscally responsible.
We have been, so. But it doesn't meet any of the goals that we talked about. I mean, like we're gonna start with this part, we'll do this, and then we're gonna work on this part, and then we're gonna do this. We're gonna do the roads and this, yeah, there's really no steps at all. And we're like setting goals. It's kinda like we went to the far other direction from what we used to do, where we put all the goals on the wall and we put our stickers up. We went the complete other direction, where
Yeah.
there's nothing other than basic, you know.
Well, everything's a goal,
Yeah, I mean, quite honestly.
but there isn't any way to measure it, so.
At least with that, we had some kind of an idea. Things changed a little bit, but at least, you know, you look at the dots and could get an idea where everybody in council thought, but, you know, wasn't the greatest
Well,
thing.
let me go back with this. I'll see if I can generate some KPIs for each thing and see what y'all think. If those are the goal, or those are the measures you want to see, I can just do that. I don't need to go back up to the hall.
I want their notes, because I liked the session. I thought it was one of the better sessions I've been involved in council, so I want their notes.
Okay, no problem.
And, yeah, I would say that, get some more information back from them.
Sure.
Okay. Are we done with that?
For now.
We're not?
For now.
Okay. Well, then the next thing up is the thriftwood. What we call the lot split. It's really a vacation property. And what got me going is I never heard a resolution on it. And the next time I went for a walk there's a fence up. And I don't know who told them they could put a fence up, what was the rationalization for any of that. And if it's an issue of, the only thing I remember is that we talked about let's see here, what's the right term? Accepting the property. And the laws that I've seen, they're very specific. One in particular that says, if a property has not, once a property is filed with the state, if there's no contesting anything about it for 10 years, it is assumed, it's considered to have been assumed by the city. And I don't know, is there, everything that I can see, it says that we own the property, the roadway. The people up at the county of Muskegon say that, and the people at the state say that. So I'm confused over how we can say that we don't own it, or that nobody owns it, or anything else. And I guess that's the crux of the issue as far as I see, because all the other rules are pretty plain, that our charter says that city council has to vacate. We got ordinances that said the city council has to vacate. The state laws say that the city has to vacate. People at the county told me they have to vacate. And then we have to go to circuit court to vacate. And so I guess it comes down to, they say we own it, so I don't know how it came about that that Amy's felt like they could put the fence up, basically. Because if we do own it, then it's a public nuisance. Officially, a public nuisance according to law.
So I can, I got the letter, yes, I looked at the letter yesterday and had some time to review it, and came away with two things I wanted to bring up. First, that the letter is, that you received is correct as far as it goes, and consistent with what we talked about 3 or 4 months ago, but doesn't address a couple things that were addressed a couple months ago. And the trick with this arises is, these are called paper roads, and there's all kinds of law and articles and all this sort of stuff related to paper roads. And this one was created back in the 1950s. The plat was dedicated. It has the language in there that says that the road is dedicated to the public, which in essence means the city. And as you mentioned, subsequent in the late 70s, there was a statute adopted that basically, it was the 10-year thing that you're talking about, that addressed the issue that you can't just, the first issue is that you can't just dedicate something to the public and all of a sudden the city's responsible for it. So they kind of came up with a two-step process that the city has to accept it, otherwise somebody could dedicate, you know, a waste dump to the municipality and all of a sudden the city's stuck with a waste dump. And so the city had the right to not accept a dedication that was made. But
Did the city take that right to not dedicate?
right, so from my understanding, and there's nothing that's of record that the city, and this is what commonly happens, and this is where these issues come about. The city never did anything to accept or not accept the property. They didn't do anything.
But they don't have to according to the law.
No, that's so there's still what there is a series of cases that arise in this particular situation where the city has not either accepted the property or vacated the property. They haven't done anything, okay? And so let me finish. Hasn't done anything. And so the city could still, and there's cases that say it has to manifest its acceptance of the property, even if it still has the right. The presumption is you've taken it, but to do something, you have to sort of manifest it. But either way, at this point where it's been a lengthy period of time, there's no set period of time, but 70 plus years or whatever would certainly qualify, that there's a basis, and there's been several cases based on common law, where people in plats like this with paper roads have overcome the presumption. It's not, what it is the 10-year thing creates a presumption that the city has accepted the property. But what the cases have come back and said is that people in the subdivisions can say, hey, wait a minute, under common law, you've done nothing to exert control over this property. You haven't excluded people from it. You haven't improved it. You haven't maintained it. You haven't done anything. Therefore, the city has abandoned its claim to the property. Those are, and that's what I was talking about 3 or 4 months ago, that if the city at this point went to proactively either accept it or just act like it controlled the property and put a roadway in or did something like that, the community members in the subdivision would have at least a basis for filing a claim saying, hey, wait a minute, the city's abandoned this because they haven't done anything for this property in 70 years. And that's what I was indicating would be, if you got to that point, and if that would be a messy kind of a lawsuit, because it's fact intensive and there's a lot of people involved as to what would happen. And that's the sort of the history of these cases that have gone up to the Court of Appeals on this matter. And so that's where what was in the letter, in my opinion, was different from what the actual situation is. So the city certainly could, at this point, say, hey, we're going to adopt a resolution, we're going to accept this property, we're going to put a road here, or we're going to put a pathway, a walkway, or whatever, and they could do that. And the presumption would be that you've got the right to do that, but it would be subject to at least a potential claim from community members that, hey, wait a minute, the city has abandoned this because you haven't done anything for 70 years. And so that was sort of the distinction that I was bringing up 3 or 4 months ago, that if you wanted to go down that road, there was that potential exposure to a claim, plus just the public part of all that. And so that was the primary thing. The other thing, we didn't talk about this too much, but the second point that they brought up in the letter talks about where the statute talks about shall, or the ordinance talks about this, shall enforce these sorts of things. And in general, that's where there is discretion in this case, the zoning administrator, anybody that enforces the ordinance has discretion as to how they go about enforcing those ordinances. And again, the kind of common example that comes up is that just because the police don't pull everybody that goes going 2 miles over and the speed limit and give them a ticket, A, that doesn't make it legal, but B, that's not sort of a violation of the city, of the authority of the enforcer for showing some discretion, right, giving warnings or whatever in enforcing these types of things. So that's, and we didn't really get into that part of the discussion 3 or 4 months ago. That wasn't really part of the topic, but that was addressed in the letter, so I did want to do that. I just got this yesterday, so if you want, I can certainly put together a more formal letter addressing some of these things and citing some things and so forth. I didn't have time to put that together.
Well, I don't think we should be fighting what's here. We don't have to fight what's published. I mean, this is the original, part of the original filings, and it says in here, and this is the people at the time, that the people from the city, this is what they wanted. It says that the streets as shown in said plat are hereby dedicated to the use of the public. And again, I'll get back and read this. This is from state of Michigan public law, under the presumption of acceptance of land dedicated to the public use. It says 10 years after the date the plat is first recorded, land dedicated to the use of public in or upon the plat shall be presumed to have been accepted on behalf of the public. The presumption prescribed in section 1 shall be conclusive of acceptance of dedication unless rebutted by competent evidence before a circuit court.
So that's
There isn't any evidence there.
Well, that would be what a court would decide. That's a rebuttable presumption, and that's what that's addressing in here. Is that's a rebuttable presumption, which means the people in the plat, for instance, it would be their burden of proof. Okay, so the presumption is when you would go into court that the city has the right regarding that property and to accept the dedication, or has accepted the dedication. But it's a presumption. But it's rebuttable. And what that means is that these common law cases that said, yes, and there are ways to rebut that presumption. Okay, and that's where I was saying that you're not guaranteed that you're not going to have that if you proceed that way. And that's what I was talking about 3 or 4 months ago.
So you're saying we're not guaranteed to win the case?
Right.
Okay.
They're fact specific, and I can provide some. That's what I'm saying. I mean, we got this yesterday. I didn't really have a chance. Or I don't know what I got, but I got it Monday, and so.
But this is what the people at the state say. This is what the laws are written. This is what the people at the county say. There's no taxes being paid on it.
They don't own it. It's not that
That's right.
They don't own it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that
I'm saying the city owns it, and we should have that fence removed.
That's a different situation.
You know, when I went to the training for this stuff,
Do they cover this?
and it talks about, correct immediately any situations that could be found liable, and make sure the people making decisions are properly trained, and make decisions based on the ordinances and facts, not on emotion, not on, and there's, why even go to the training if
Whose emotion is this besides yours?
whoever told them they could do that?
Wasn't
I'm trying to protect.
Wasn't this brought up at the planning commission? And then it
It
came to
was.
us? And what happened at the planning
And
commission?
we tabled it.
Well, no.
We tabled it.
I don't think it was
Yes.
Not at
If
the
you go
planning
look
commission,
at,
was it?
now, it's not what the note says, but if you look at the video,
At planning,
we tabled it.
at planning, it was not
Planning
tabled.
commission.
It
Oh,
was
at planning.
passed.
At planning, they referred it to us.
Well, they
Passed.
At planning, it passed. and it was
It
brought
passed,
to us.
and that means they're referring it to us for approval. They can't make that decision, they recommend for us to make the decision.
In the
And
meantime,
at the next planning meeting, when I brought it up, they said, oh, well, that's been dealt with. And they said that city council washed their hands of it. We didn't, we tabled it. So, I'm, whether it's next year or 10 years or 20 years or whatever, somebody might want to do something with that trail.
all right,
And it won't cost us anything. If we start doing a trail through there or whatever, if we file a paper that says that reaffirms,
does
that
anyone
we
want
want
another
it.
park on council?
I'm not looking for a park, I'm looking for a trail.
It's something else to maintain.
No, it doesn't have to be.
So my question,
Don't make it silly.
It is
I
silly.
talked with
This
Doug
is absolutely
Ogden,
silly.
who runs the Boy Scout group here in town. And I said, Doug, we got this situation. If this thing were allowed to be a trail put through, do you have any Boy Scouts that need a project for their Eagle Scout? And he says, yeah, we have 1 or 2 a year. And he says, from what you're saying, it sounds like that could be a good project for somebody to do. It's 60 foot wide, okay? I bet, I don't know for sure, what's the right of way for our rail trail? Is it bigger than 60 foot? I mean, the trail by itself is only about 12 or 15 feet. Somebody could go through and put in a dirt trail through there, and it would be a nice place to walk.
You're not even being an honest broker. Like, you're making stuff up to prove a point that's not even
My
going to
point
happen
is-
ever. You lost at a planning meeting, and you seem to have a vendetta against this.
I don't
one
have a
fence.
vendetta, this is one person in the city taking a right away from all the other people in the city that might someday want to do something there.
I'll review any proposal for that wants to build, anyone who wants to build a trail. I'll bring it to council accordingly. You're picking.
I wanted, when I ran for mayor, I did it in part for transparency and stuff. This hasn't shown any
and this,
transparency.
so
I'm out.
can I, okay, I'll be the first one.
You're up.
I'll be the first one. How is not wanting them to bring this to us transparent? You told him.
Oh, well, I did. I told Dan, I would rather not do this here because I don't want this kind of a discussion. For number one, we didn't need to. This could be taken care of by just removing.
You don't have the authority to do that. Neither does this group.
I didn't say
The
that.
council has that authority. And you took it upon yourself
No. I'm not.
to get legal counsel to sue the city to get to what you want. You're the mayor of the city
Right.
that you're trying to sue.
I'm not trying to sue. That doesn't say anything about suing.
This is from a lawyer addressed to me and Chris Mahoney.
Demanding that they do something. That's not their job to demand to do that. That's not your job to tell them for the attorneys to demand them to do something. Absolutely not. That comes from this board. This group, which you are a member of.
It comes from this board.
Yep.
This board didn't act on it.
Chose not to act on it.
We tabled it. And you can look at the tape.
And you could have brought it back up. Say, hey, I want this off the table and bring it back to council. We need to make a decision on it. Instead of going and retaining an out of municipal law firm.
The reason I didn't necessarily want this to come up because the city, in my opinion, the city made a mistake on this. And I thought we could eliminate it without exposing, maybe I was wrong on that, but I think it's a mistake.
This looks like a vendetta and sour grapes because you lost.
Could I,
Go ahead.
could we please talk about the issues and not impugn people's motives or get personal with it? I'm just saying across the board.
I
That
agree.
they're
I agree.
here to talk about the issue and
Right.
not call it anything. I mean, you can feel that way, but we need to be respectful and serious here.
I'm with it.
What would it take, Will, to writing a letter to the state asking for us to verify our acceptance of the property? Is that what it would take?
No, it would
That
just
would-
take I mean, it's not for the state to decide who, it's not, it would be for a court to decide. The
I'm
city can just-
asking just for an acceptance.
Yeah, he said it's the
To
court.
the acceptance, the council could just adopt a resolution accepting the dedication of the public way. And that's all it needs to do. And if it's done that in 1962, that's.
Right, but I kind of asked that question at the April 14 meeting, I think. And I was told that it would cost some amount of money,
That,
right?
it costs some money to do that. It's not much, but where you would potentially run into problems, what I talked about, is that it's that rebuttable presumption.
Yeah.
The city can go ahead and do that, and the question is, and what I just wanted to bring up is because it's been so long, if the city had done that within that 10-year period or right away or whatever, it would have been accepted and there wouldn't have been any claim that anybody could make. The fact that it was 70 years ago, it creates this rebuttable presumption, as the statute talks about, that the community members can file, and that would be a expensive process if that were to happen.
That could be a class action with all the people that on that area.
Yeah, there's no guarantee that they would do that or not, but
Mhm.
it's just the fact that you accept it, and you can accept it, which is what I would recommend, through a resolution that was adopted, or you could accept it by just proactively sort of
Wow.
acting as if you already had accepted it and putting a roadway through it and invite the lawsuit.
I mean, I don't care about, he was using the property before, and that's fine, I don't care about that. Just like I don't mind the people that are driving through, on where the road turns in off Gibbs. There's people that drive in and out because they access garages. I don't care about that, but I would like for the public to, whether it's now or later, have the ability to use that. Go ahead, Roger.
At those meetings, I think the council was quite clear that we had no interest whatsoever in making a park, trail, road, or anything out of that property. And it would almost be inappropriate to go through people's backyards when there wasn't going to be a new house built or anything done adjacent to that roadway. You went around the chain of command because you didn't like that answer, and you had this letter sent to us. Now that definitely lacks transparency. It even has a tone of spitefulness in it that you said you didn't like. This is a perfect illustration of it's better to ask forgiveness than permission. If they had put the fence through, we would have never known, nothing would have ever been done or said, and things would have been fine. And what we're doing now is we're taking away some of the ability of the Amies to enjoy their property. They own both sides of that, and we're taking away some of their ability to do that. That is not what we're here for. We have an opportunity to do something reasonable that will allow them, that will keep all of us in an appropriate situation, put aside the letter of the law, do something reasonable so that this is resolved. That's I would ask that at a future council meeting, we have option 3 somehow presented as a resolution to approve.
Allow public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we need to cut this off because it's time for public comment. Anybody wish to talk tonight? Okay, apparently not. So if I will say right off, if the letter was inappropriate, I apologize for that. But when this happened and I wasn't getting,
What you want.
if I wasn't getting a legal answer that I thought was correct, I looked into legal things myself. I did this. I'm the one that I talked with the people.
What you did was
At county,
anything but
and
a better way forward.
And I talked with the people at the state So I thought what I was doing, what I was pursuing was legal.
But it
So
was
I
not a better
apologize.
way forward.
There had to be a better, for me, that was not the right way to go about it. We could have had this very same discussion without legal threat. That's the part that
Right.
isn't transparent to me.
Okay, well, we're adjourned for now. time to start our meeting. If you could join me for the pledge of allegiance.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion for that?
Yes, you do. I move to approve the agenda for July 14, 2026.
Support.
Okay. Discussion? Voice vote then. All in favor?
Aye.
Yes?
Yes.
Consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted.
All right. Okay, discussion on that.
I have one question on the accounts payable.
Okay,
And I probably should know the answer, but I don't. Page 3 of 7, Michigan Municipal Risk Management Authority, first installment, $60,068.
So it's $120,000 for our MMR, just general insurance. The first payment's 50%, and then we pay for the next 2 quarters, and then we pay the fourth quarter.
So this is for our city liability insurance?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
I have a question. We got on page 4 of 7, there's a repair bill for one of the radar signs.
Parts.
Those are, or part?
It was parts. They're mobile, so
Right.
moving stuff just.
Okay, it's not a warranty, kind of,
I
it
don't
wouldn't
think
work
so.
for a warranty.
We have 2 that are still under warranty, if there isn't one with warranty.
Okay.
But 2 of them were not. 2
Okay.
of them were older.
And there were, I'm curious about the network service for the marina. There was 3 different invoices for that.
Yeah, getting Wi-Fi up is, and setting up a mesh network, I don't even know that's a thing, but
Okay.
it's to set up the Wi-Fi for the customers.
Last year, people were happy that we got it.
Yeah, right.
But do we have to reset it then or something?
Something froze
Okay.
over the winter, and it just didn't work. We had to pay for it, so we had to buy new parts, new cables, and tech.
Okay.
Or do it just.
Anyone else? All right, all in favor of the consent agenda as it is, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Messages from mayor, city manager, and council. Want to go ahead, Dean?
Sure. Okay, first, I'll give a Playhouse update. So, last week they received a $30,000 grant, which is $10,000 over the next 3 years from Helmet Foundation for funding the White Lake Youth Theater. They're also gifting $2,000 from the Community Foundation to White Lake Youth Theater as well. Completed the first weekend of Summer Theater Festival with 2 shows with Helen Welch. Well, good feedback on both shows. These shows were fully funded by donors, $13,000, and the cast members and anyone we needed to hire stayed at Maple Tree Inn. I want to just give a shout out. They're only charging us the cleaning fees, so Maple Tree Inn is really helping us out. Ticket sales were about $11,000 for both shows. Central Michigan did 2 shows at the end of June. Attendance was lower than hoped, but the costs were less than $2,000 and ticket revenue was $1,800. So we're going to be reviewing that partnership, talking with them about doing more theater for younger audiences or family-friendly shows. The Odd Couple finished its first weekend, and there are 2 more shows this weekend, Friday and Saturday, both at 7:30. Ticket sales were around 12,000 as of today. We do have a sponsor for the show, and so that'll help with expenses, and they're sponsoring to the tune of $10,000. Then Her story of animation and musical celebration. It's in the final weeks of its rehearsals, we have a $6,000 sponsor for the show. And the Patsy Cline show is in rehearsal as well. It runs August 7th through the 16th. There's a $10,000 sponsor for that show. So when I say sponsor, it helps defray the costs because ticket sales, only cover so much. So Beth's doing a really good job of networking and getting donors to continue giving. Friends of the Playhouse will continue to increase engagement and raise funds. They are holding a 50-50 raffle with the goal of raising $10,000 for the Playhouse. The May 7th event yielded $86,000 in donations. Friends of the Playhouse also generated $17,800 for the purchase of a new digital grand piano, cart and cover. This will be used for concerts, musicals, and various shows. This purchase will save us thousands of dollars in rental fees, tuning fees, as it never needs to be tuned. It does not require a dehumidifier or humidifier. We received a $40,000 donation from the Butterfield Family Foundation that we used to support the purchase of a piano, sponsorship of the Odd Couple, and matching funds for a Michigan Arts and Culture Council grant, total cost of $28,000. So just in one day, she happened to secure $70,000 in funding for the Playhouse, which is pretty valuable because she's a fundraiser, Playhouse director, all the above for that establishment. And then the other thing I wanted to highlight, we had the LDFA, TIFA, and Brownfield meeting last week. LDFA passed a new grant program to support businesses in the industrial park. It'll cover up to $8,000 to assist with life safety upgrades. So, like a new business wants to go in and they're too far away from a fire hydrant and it costs $15,000 to put in a fire hydrant. LDFA will cover up to $8,000 as a match for that. So, I think it's good for businesses down there, and a lot of that stuff can get pretty expensive, and LDFA was pretty. They were definitely on board, so it's less of a facade. It's more of a costlier items, and there's less customers down there, so we opted to $8,000. So that's what we got.
Okay. Jeff?
See down back there, the pump is in, is that trailer that I see out there?
Yep.
Working good?
Working good.
Good. I don't know if you guys have seen it, it's sitting down there on an orange trailer, so I figured what it was, but I figured I'd ask.
We're running on there at this point.
Okay, good, perfect. That's all I have.
Scott?
Two things. One, you didn't get far enough into the Playhouse stuff to say that the Motown show's coming back in August. I saw that. What did I see that on?
It might be October.
I saw August.
No kidding, I gotta look at the website.
One on
I
August?
thought it was in August,
Yeah.
like August 26th or something.
Anyhow, it went over real good the first
It
time.
was
and-
sold out.
Yeah, and they didn't have any dates to do a second show at that point.
Yeah,
So it sounds like we've gotten them to come back for another show.
yeah, they
So
wanted it right away. Just didn't have the space for them, so that's awesome.
I just think that's good. And the other thing is, I don't want to cause a bunch of controversy, but do we need to add to the next work session to resolve this Timberwood Drive deal, or are we considering it already resolved?
I think right now, I'll get the letter from Will to explain the case law that's been developed since 1958 to now. There's a case law that's actually guiding a lot of this. I think that'd be a good place to start. Just let the cooler heads prevail, maybe. Sorry if I lost my temper. I didn't mean to.
Well, me too.
I mean, the only thing with me about the whole deal is, I guess I can't really say I don't like the city giving away property, but everybody seems to be kind of divided on whether we really own it or don't. So I just feel we should be compensated for it if we're going to allow somebody to put a fence on it. But that's for discussion for later. So that's all I think.
Sir?
Well, I will start out positively. First off, I knew the story of how the whole pump thing went down for the DPW, and good job keeping everything from backflowing, which is kind of important for everyone on the other end of that. So nice job as always. The park, and I understand how things got out of whack with timing, but the park downtown looks absolutely amazing, and the hotel looks great, and the new facade on the building that's going there, it's really cool to see the improvements that we've been a part of recently, and the Playhouse information is fantastic. The somewhat sour taste in my mouth, it's kind of unfortunate for me to feel that our mayor is here to promote his own agenda and not necessarily serve all the people in the community, and his recent actions kind of have made that somewhat clear.
Debbie?
I have had quite a few comments on the park, some questions about the delays, and thanks to, Dan's explanation, I was able to answer those and really help people just to tell them what's going on. And, yeah, it got delayed. That was kind of funny. It was somebody was pretty upset that it wasn't finished, and yeah, it's delayed, and here's why. And that was all it took to just calm them down, and then I could share what was happening and all of that stuff. So thanks for those clear updates, because it's super helpful. And I think it's coming along great. I liked that it was kind of closed off for the 4th of July, because it could have gotten really messed up. But I think it's coming along great. I love all the plantings going in, and I can't wait to see the rest of it. So thanks.
Don, compliments. I appreciate you having that area mowed along White Lake Drive at Blank, where that seven-sided thingy is. Because if it's not mowed, it's not approachable, and I think it's kind of cool to look at. That's the kind of one thing that I would walk up. So just thanks for mowing that.
Can you?
Okay, two things, one short, one long.
Tetra Holly probably either. Sorry.
Two things. One, when we have these high heats, last year I asked if our city hall would post on the social media the cooling centers, and Scott,
Oh, we did.
yeah, I didn't see it.
Okay. Brandon asked me, it might have been on the police one. I'll make sure it's on.
Yeah, it needs to be. I mean, this is, for people who don't have AC, it's pretty bad. And then also, if somebody's monitoring the City of Whitehall Facebook page, I messaged the last heat wave and I said, can you post the cooling centers? And no one has gotten back to me yet. So somebody needs to monitor the Facebook page and check the messages once in a while. I don't know who that is. Maybe it's not assigned to anybody.
Everybody knows.
And the other thing is, and this is a little, I don't want to be long with it, but there's no place for me to speak about it except for here. So, and it hasn't been on the agenda, so I have to talk in messages. So, for folks who don't know, there's a town hall that the city manager is putting on July 27th. Okay, and council found out about that 2 days after the last council meeting by an email. And this is one of the things that I've occasionally said makes it challenging for us, is that when we get an email, we can't reply all and start having a discussion and deliberate, because that's a violation of the Open Meetings Act. So we can't say, oh, we like that idea, or, why didn't you talk about this 2 days before at our city council meeting, and we could have talked about it. People can probably reply individually, but that's also kind of skirting the issue too. And then, somebody might reply back, but then I don't see it. So that was an unfortunate way of putting that information, because it basically stopped. It didn't allow for discussing the town hall meeting until this meeting, and then it's not on this agenda. And so I guess my point is not with having a town hall. I think town halls are great. I've mentioned it to the mayor and the city manager, but that's a council function. That's a council function, and I think we should be doing it. I think we should be working with the city manager. Obviously, the city manager can present, but I was just surprised to see all of a sudden, there's a date, not a city council meeting. We have 3 we have 3 a month, so a completely separate one. And it says council members will be available, and I'm thinking, well, if we're all there, are we just sitting in the audience and then we can't speak because that might be a violation of the Open Meetings Act, or do we choose who gets to go? What role is council gonna play? And I think this is a governance issue that we have to decide. And Dan, I know you're all for action, so I think you just sprung into action, but I think it certainly put me in an awkward position because I had no way of interacting until now. I can't say anything about it till now.
Email,
I could email you,
or call.
I could call you. Okay, but the rest of council doesn't know. And that's the problem when you send those emails out there like that, is we can't reply all, because we shouldn't. But then if people reply individually, there might be some apparent consent that way, or dissent. Nobody else on council might know that I have an issue with this, which I do. And I think, so I think it just raises a lot of questions. Are we going to be in the audience? There's policy issues discussed, like a 2-year plan for the city and vision for Whitehall, which neither one of them we have. None of this information we've seen that you are going to present at a special meeting, which, is that a special meeting or what is it?
No,
So what is it then?
it does not.
No, it's a meeting. It's a meeting where, no, it's absolutely a meeting.
I don't see why you're being so aggressive for me.
Aggressive, excuse me?
Roger?
Could we, wait a minute. I'm not getting personal.
Okay.
I'm not getting personal and I'm not getting aggressive. And I don't think we need to speak to each other in this fashion.
I don't know what to say.
Okay, what I'm trying to say is, this is the only place that I can talk to anybody about this on council because of the way that it happened. 2 days after a council meeting, we get an email saying, I'm gonna put a town hall meeting on talking about city policy, which we haven't even decided. That's what it said.
We're just trying to inform the public on what's going on.
But you're missing my point, Scott. And I know that I'm guessing I'm in the minority on this, but what I'm trying to say is we set meetings according to the charter. We weren't even asked if that's a meeting that we could go to. Normally, when we have special meetings, Brenda says, can you go to a special meeting? Here's a date. I don't know why this could not have been done as part of a council meeting. We are not done with our strategic plan. We don't have something to present on Whitehall's vision or the 2-year plan. So I would hope, excuse me,
So I do.
I'm talking,
I don't want to hear.
excuse me?
Let me,
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I'm not appreciating this type of dialogue. I'm not attacking at all.
Tanya, I would like to, I'm sorry, but I would like to cut you off, and Roger had an input in maybe that.
Absolutely, I'll finish, I'm not gonna debate it, but I don't like the dialogue that we have had here tonight, and I don't like this. I'm not gonna be called aggressive, I'm saying what I think about what was done. And I think we need to get back to treating each other respectfully. I'm not treating anybody disrespectfully. And I don't appreciate being treated as if I'm personally attacking you when I'm talking about my view on something that you have done.
Okay, Roger?
When I saw the announcement, the tenor of it, the format of it, it made me think of a State of the City address. And I just called Dan and said, hey, is this a State of the City address? And he said yes. And it was,
That's, yeah.
it's
That's
easy
what
to
mayors-
avoid a misunderstanding.
That's what mayors do. Mayors do State of the City. Council does State of the City. We do it together.
The president does the State of the Union, not the Congress.
Well, we're not Congress, and the mayor's not the president.
Okay, I'm.
It's a government
I've-
issue,
I've-
and I'm putting it out there. we do council meetings. I don't know what this meeting is.
Can I go?
Yes, you can.
Okay, thanks, David. I'd like to start out by apologizing for the letter if that was incorrect way to handle it. I could have done it differently, I'm sorry. And I don't have too much beside that, except, Don, I had a call from somebody that lives on Main Street, and this was a couple of weeks ago, but he said now that the trees are all leafed out fully, there's some blockage of the stop signs. And so if you could have your guys pay attention to that. I don't know if, it didn't seem that bad to me on Main Street, but there might be some other places where there are some situations like that, so.
I have guys out on the road every day trimming, so there's a lot to do and just
Yeah.
a few of us to do it, so.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
so I got a question with that.
Hmm?
Again, that's something that council shouldn't be dealing with. You probably should direct them to call City Hall and do that versus you trying to handle it. That's for our staff to handle. As far as my perspective, I would do the same thing. Somebody called to me, says, hey, I need this done. I'm gonna send them down where they need to make the call. We shouldn't be, as a council, we shouldn't be investigating, we shouldn't be doing any of that stuff. We have people that do that. We have people that we direct to do that, so.
Okay.
That's where I would go with it. Just a recommendation.
Next up is public comment. 3 minutes for anybody that would like to talk.
Yeah, Mark, you guys don't know me. I want to thank Dan and the police department. Things are so much quieter on my end of water now, so they did something. The motorcycles are going along just boom, 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 not rattling my windows. The big trucks are doing the same thing. An occasional drag racer. But other than that, it's a lot calmer. Thanks.
Hello, Kathy Russell, 303 South Mears. I pulled up the flyer that was sent regarding the town hall. And as I read it, it just says we will share updates. It's not talking about setting policy, it is informing the community. And I think that's the spirit of what is being proposed, and I don't think anything else needs to be done regarding it. Yes, council has their input, but this is a means of sharing with more people at a public event. It's different than a council meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm slowly making it. I'm having a hard time walking. Okay. Hi, I'm Christina Norman. It's been a long day, so my thoughts are all over the place, but with what just happened, I wanted to say my 2 cents. Brian, I don't appreciate your comment. That was your opinion. You'd be surprised with the public, that's why they voted for Tom. He does care about the people, and he does listen to people. You might not agree with how things happen. Maybe it could have been handled differently, but again, he's doing, in my opinion, a way better job than the last mayor. People could have gone to her. I know right now in the moment I'm probably going to slaughter your name, so I'm not even going to attempt to. Concerns about the flyer. I think it's a great thing, but other people can disagree, and that's okay. That's not to slander somebody or put down somebody with their opinion. With Dan, I will say, Dan is phenomenal to work with. There's times where he doesn't agree with me, and that's okay. Sometimes he might be a little blunt, and that's okay. I don't think that I think that just right now, the heat's getting to everybody, even in the air conditioning. So I just wanted to say my 2 cents that please don't speak for everybody in the community that Tom's not doing the best interest.
Anyone else?
My name's Doug Bordwell. I'm with the White Lake Cruising Committee, and I just want to say thank you, City of Whitehall, Police Department, Fire Department, DPW for the support and help with cruising. Special thanks to Brenda for helping me with permitting and some different things that has to happen. So just want to come down and say thank you.
Thanks.
Yes, July 31st.
Any others tonight? All right. Old business, I'm not aware of any. We want to new business. Next thing up is the cruising request.
I make a motion to approve the request for the closure of Hanson Street for the cruising drag burnout event.
Second.
All right. Any discussion on that? All right. All in favor of that, say yes.
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 And that is approved. Resolution 2635, the obsolete property rehab district.
I'll move resolution 2635, the obsolete property rehab district.
Second.
You get it.
You're first. Discussion on that? If not, that's a roll call vote.
Holmstrom,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Mahan,
Yes.
Hildebrand,
Yes.
Squires,
Yes.
Kabala,
Yes.
Zemer.
Yes. That passes. Next up, resolution 2636 for the DPW truck. Need a motion?
I move to approve resolution 2636, the DPW truck.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on that? If not,
I'll
go ahead.
just say if Don thinks it's a good deal, then I think we should go with it.
Sounds good to me. Roll call vote?
Mahan,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Holmstrom,
Yes.
Kabala,
Yes.
Squires,
Yes.
Hildebrand,
Yes.
Zemer.
Yes. Last resolution is number 2637 for the industrial park land sale.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution 26-37, the industrial park land sale.
Support.
Do you believe this is our last piece?
Yeah.
In the industrial park. Okay. Wonderful.
All right, any discussion for that one?
Can we know who's purchasing it?
Jeez. That's it. Armstrong, Marie?
Oh, okay. You did, I think you said that for the last, you
I forget what it was.
either that or maybe it was at the different, or the LDFA.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Okay. That's all I,
Okay, let's have a roll call vote.
Holmstrom,
Yes.
Squires,
Yes.
Kabala,
Yes.
Brown,
yes.
Mahan,
Yes.
Hildebrand,
Yes.
Zemer.
Yes. Second round of public comment. Anybody thought of anything else they need to say? And if not, time to adjourn. God bless.